live battle between teachers on offering pointers. Zhang Xuan's face darkens. Although he has inherited the memories of the previous Zhang Xuan, he has yet to organize the information in his head. At most, he can only make sense out of the different realms in cultivation. If it is on mistakes of cultivation, even the previous Zhang Xuan could only smoke through it. Needless to say, the current Zhang Xuan, guiding others, he is definitely inferior to this teacher Cao. If they were to really compete, he would surely lose. Why? Are you scared to accept the challenge? It is clearly written in the rules that teachers can compete with one another so as to allow the student to make a better choice. This isn't considered as poaching. Cao Zhang chuckles. He flings his sleeves and a serene and scholarly look appears on him. What do we offer the students pointer on? He knows that if he doesn't settle things properly today, the only student he has recruited is going to flee. Zhang Xuan grinds his teeth. There are many aspects for a teacher to guide their students on, such as their cultivation, martial art and mistakes and training. As the teachers differ from one another, their specialty also differs. How about this? Since they are all new students whom we don't know, how about we have them execute a punching routine, then guide them based on the flaws in their execution. Afterward, we will have a test on the spot and the one whose student improves to a greater extent wins. How about it? Against other teachers, Cao Zhang wouldn't have the confidence to challenge them. However, against the one whose performance is first from the bottom, the one who scored 0 on the teacher qualification examination, he is still confident of his skills. Zhang Xuan hesitates. It can't be that you do not dare to accept. You were still bragging so proudly back there that you refused so many students who wanted you as their teacher. If you possess true abilities, let's compete it out. Don't hinder the future of the young lady. Cao Zhang coerces him. That. All right. Zhang Xuan nods his head. The worst one thing that can happen to one is death anyway. The worst that can happen now is his loss. If he doesn't accept the duel now, the student he just accepted will definitely withdraw. At this moment, there is nowhere for him to retreat to anymore. If he finds himself unable to make it, when it comes down to it later on, he can just make up something random on the spot. Anyway, he has thick skin, so what if it is embarrassing? Teacher Cao and Teacher Zhang are competing. Which of these two teachers on the bottom will win? That's him. A teacher who scored 0 on the teacher qualification examination still wants to compete with others? Are you for real? Isn't he just looking for embarrassment? Upon accepting the challenge, numerous students who were in the midst of eating came crowding over. Today is the day for the registration of freshmen. Quite a lot of people who came have heard of this teacher, who scored a 0 in the teacher qualification examination, even though they have yet to meet him in person. Most of them are quite curious how it would turn out. Going by the rules, you will guide my student, while I will guide yours. Seeing people gathering around, Cao Zhang feels even more motivated to perform. He smiles with his hands open widely. To ensure fairness, competition between teachers disallows them to offer pointers to their own students so as to avoid the suspicion of cheating. Normally, they would exchange students to guide. Young lady, come and display your punching routine. Use your full strength to strike the stone pillar. After confirming the content and method of the competition, Cao Zhang assumes the look of an unworldly saint and looks towards the dazed young lady. Wang blushes furiously as she peeks at Zhang Xuan. After confirming that he isn't angry, she walks forward. With her hands apart, a leisure aura shrouds her entire body. Ha-ha-hoo. The shock wave from the punch causes the wind to whistle. Her punch is full of force. If one doesn't see it personally, they would definitely find it hard to believe that this was a punching routine from the dazed young lady. her stance is stable and forceful. Just from the looks of it, she has built up a great foundation. Very quickly, the punching routine comes to an end. After seeing the punching routine, Zhang Xuan falls in despair. With his experience, even with the memories from his previous life, he couldn't see any flaws in it at all. No wonder he would score a 0 for his teacher qualification examination. His eye to perceive such things is too weak. Yes, your full strength and strike the stone pillar. Seeing that she is indeed a good bud, Cao Zhang nods his head in satisfaction and says, "A stone pillar stands not too far away from them. It can be used to gauge the strength of the students, so that the students would have a better understanding of their own strength." Wang Ying walks shyly over. She turns the strength she gathered from that punching routine earlier into shooting stars and sends a forceful blow over. Peng! The stone pillar staggers and numbers appear on it. 53. 53 kilograms, the strength of your punch is not bad. Cao Zhang nods his head in approval. For a freshman, who has yet to enter the academy, to be guided by the teachers, not to mention she is a female, it is already quite incredible for her to have such weight behind her punch. Previously, I have noticed that your punching routine is very vigorous and forceful. However, one flaw with your punches is that your punch route is a little too short. If you can increase the speed of the rotation of your lower limb, its prowess would increase significantly. If I'm not wrong, your legs should be injured. Cao Zhang says. As expected of a teacher, his eye to perceive is indeed much better than Zhang Xuan's. With just one look, he is able to tell that the crux to Wang Ying's punching routine is the lower limbs, and from there, he deduced that she might have been injured. Yes. Wang Ying nods her head. Due to your injury, you are a little hesitant to exert pressure on your lower limbs. Let me impart you a method. Don't worry, it will not worsen the injuries on your legs. Following which, Cao Zhang speaks of another new method and explains it thoroughly. Let me give it a try. For Wang Ying to possess such strength at her age, her comprehension ability isn't weak. It didn't take her long to understand the concepts fully. Then, she steps before the stone pillar again and clenches her fist. A surge of strength fills her entire body and she feels like a powerful dragon. Peng! 63. After some simple guidance, her weight of her blows increases by 10 kilograms. For her strength to increase by 10 kilograms, that is a 20% increase. I am done with my guidance. It's your time. Looking at his result, Cao Zhang smiles faintly, and the glee behind it is apparent. For a student's strength to increase by 20% with just a single session of guidance, this is not a bad result at all. Teacher Zhang. Afterward, a student walks out from Cao Zhang's back, and readies himself to execute his punching routine. Hold it right there. Zhang Xuan raises his hand. Why? Teacher Zhang wants to go against his words. Cao Zhang snickers. Go against my words? What a joke. Do you think I will regret something that I have agreed upon? Zhang Xuan speaks with a forceful tone, but in that instant, his heart panics. As a transcender, how could he possibly know how to guide a student? However, if they want to be guided in the field of downloading and watching romance films, he is an expert. I only think that. With the crowd looking at every action of his, Zhang Xuan can only bear with the embarrassment while fumbling for a random excuse to escape from the situation. He is your student and he listens to your orders. What if he intentionally refuses to exert his full strength after my guidance? Won't I lose immediately? I will definitely use my full strength. At the very least, I still have that little bit of credibility. Looking at how Zhang Xuan doubts him, he grinds his teeth. All right, I believe in the credibility of this student. However, our duel isn't fair. Now that the student had said those words, Zhang Xuan knows that he would only be mocked if he forcefully pushes his way through on that. Thus, he could only thicken his skin further and find another breakthrough. Unfair? What is unfair? Zhang says. Wang Ying is my student. If I win, she is still my student. What would I earn? On the other hand, if I lose, she would become your student. How can this be considered fair? This is just like in a gamble of life. If I win, you would spare me, and if I lose, I would give my life to you. Do you think that this is fair? Zhang Xuan says. Kung. Zhang is at a loss. Now that he puts it that way, it is an unfair challenge. This bet is just like a fraud. While Zhang isn't susceptible to any losses, when the other party loses, he would have to pass his student on to him. How about this? If I were to lose, Liu Yang over here will become your student. After considering for a moment, Zhang declares with a gesture of his hand. Liu Yang is the freshman, who had walked out to be guided by Zhang Xuan. Teacher. He didn't expect that Teacher Cao would make such a decision. Liu Yang is flabbergasted and a look of anxiety appears on his face. To make him acknowledge a teacher who scored 0 in the teacher qualification examinations, he would rather die. Don't worry, teacher won't lose. Zhang looks at him confidently. Yes. Seemingly confident in teacher Cao, Liu Yang walks over and ha-ha-ha-hoo. Regardless of whether Zhang Xuan is looking or not, he begins on his punching routine. Initially, he wanted to say a few more words, to make this youth give up. However, seeing how he immediately starts on his punching routine, not even giving him a chance to speak, Zhang Xuan feels a little desolate. To tell the truth, he doesn't even recognize the punching routine of the student, so how could he find a flaw in it? Needless to say, to guide him. Flaw? What flaw is there in this punching routine? Beads of perspiration flow down his head and anxiety overwhelms him. If he is unable to find a flaw to guide him, embarrassing himself is a small matter. However, the student he took so much trouble to recruit would be gone, and he would be expelled from the academy. Boom! Just as he was overwhelmed with anxiety, the library of Heaven's Path in his mind tremors and the deep rumble of a lightning echoes. 4 words appear on top of the bookshelves. Heaven's Path is imperfect. These 4 words have induces an imposing sensation, as though the mountains. It carries with it boundless prestige and might. The moment the 4 words are formed, a book appears on the bookshelf and books, which are intangible, and falls before him. What is this? Zhang Xuan's heart stops for a moment. He lowers his head to look at the book in his hands. He could only see 2 words on the cover: Liu Yang. Casually flipping to the first page, he could see a dense concentration of words written it. Liu Yang originates from the Liu family from Xiayin City. A student of Hongtian Academy. Fighter 1 Danjugzi Realm. Cultivation technique, Lotus Aku Point Breakthrough Might. Battle techniques, Soaring Flower Fists Rookie, Dragon Inch Fist Expert. Flaws, 12 aspects. Number 1. He uses too much strength for his feints. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 1 2. Although his left arm is much stronger, his punching routine is more suited for the right-handed. Thus, he is unable to exert his full strength. This. Looking at the densely filled words on top of it, Zhang Xuan feels as though he is going mad. Is this for real? Just as he is thinking of Liu Yang's flaws, the Library of Heaven's Path compiles a book on his weaknesses. If what is written on it is for real, then the gift package he received as a transcender is simply too overpowered. You must know that everyone has their own flaws. Every martial art and moves have their own flaw. Perfect doesn't exist in this world. To be able to perceive the flaws of a person and compile it into a book, this library is on the verge of breaking through the heavens. Peng. Just as Zhang Xuan is surprised by the changes in the library in his mind, Liu Yang has already completed his punch routine. After a resounding tremor, numbers appear on the stone pillar. 62. The weight behind his punch is 62 kilograms. Teacher Zhang, Liu Yang has already finished his demonstration. How about you offer him some guidance? Cao Zhang smiles. Hearing those words, those who are watching the commotion by the side gaze towards Zhang Xuan. They want to see how the only teacher, who scored a 0 in the teacher qualification examination, would guide his student. The tremor from the Library of Heaven's path just now caused his attention to be concentrated in his mind, and he is still in a dazed state. Furthermore, he doesn't even know what the other person's punching routine is, so how the hell could he guide him? Teacher Zhang, please correct my flaws. Liu Yang steps forward and bends over completely. By one side, Wang blinks her eyes. She wants to see how this expert she has just met would guide him. Kung. Everyone's gaze concentrates on him. If he doesn't speak soon, he will only end in embarrassment. Just as Zhang Xuan is about to spout bullshit, he suddenly remembers Liu Yang's flaws that were recorded in the book in the library. He doesn't know whether what is recorded on it is true or not. However, given the situation, it is probably impossible for him to make something up on the spot. Thus, he could only buck up his courage to say, "There are many flaws in your punch routine, a total of 12 of them." Huh, he said that there are many flaws in there, 12 of them? I didn't hear wrongly, did I? This is the funniest joke I have heard. This soaring flower fist may not be very advanced, but it is one of the most common skills in the entire kingdom, and is known as the basic fist. After thousands of years of simplification and refining, although it cannot be considered as perfect, he actually says that there are 12 flaws? A bunch of lies. He probably couldn't discern anything, that's why he decided to make things up. Initially, the surrounding crowd was still pondering over what he could say. The moment he opened his mouth, every one of them bursts into laughter. Soaring flower fist is one of the most basic punching routines of the Tongzuan kingdom. It is similar to the Taizhu Ching Kun. As long as one is practicing martial arts, they would have to learn it first. After thousands of years of refinement by countless experts, though it doesn't hold much might, but it is well reputed for its lack of flaws. Even more so, some people call it the flawless fists. For such a punching routine, that fellow actually claims that there are 12 flaws in it. What kind of joke is it? Ignoring the fact that he scored 0 for his teacher qualification examination, even if the principal were to come over, he probably won't be able to point out so many flaws. Oh? Teacher Zhang sure is a genius, to be able to find 12 flaws in the soaring flower fists. Do enlighten us. Apparently, Cao Zhang didn't expect Zhang Xuan to be so boastful, and to say such words the moment he opens his mouth. Excited, his eyes twinkled. He purposely said those words to push Zhang Xuan into a corner. Even despite hearing the words from the crowd, Zhang Xuan remains expressionless. However, his heart couldn't help but beat erratically. He didn't expect that the Liu Yang fellow would use a punch routine everyone is aware of. His previous self would definitely be aware of it. However, given that he just transcended over, the other person's memory has yet to fully merge with his. However, even though he is a librarian in his previous life, he is still a transcender with an entirely different set of knowledge. Not to mention, his skin is thick. After rolling his eyes, he says, "Why, you don't believe it? It isn't that I don't want to guide him, but that you all do not trust me. Since you don't want to do as I guided you to, then, you all can't blame me for it. Wang, let's go. This kind of gamble is pointless. Hold it there, we trust you. Do enlighten us." Seeing that he is on the verge of leaving, Cao Zhang immediately stops him. He can tell that the other party is intentionally coming up with exaggerated figures so that other people would refuse to trust him, and he could make use of this opportunity to sneak away. However, it wasn't easy for him to grasp hold of this opportunity to teach him a lesson, so how could he give up at this point? Seeing that he is unable to sneak away, Zhang Xuan can only take out the book compiled by the library once again. If I die, so be it. Since there is no backing out now, he stares at the flaws as recorded in the book, and looks through the 12 of them once again. Then, his gaze falls on the last one. He grinds his teeth and speaks, "The punch routine you just used is right-handed. Let me give you a suggestion. Try using your left hand to strike the stone pillar. Since it is a special privilege granted to a transcender, there is a chance it could be correct. Besides, even if the information on it isn't accurate, he can't think of a better reason to worm his way out at this point. Try using the left-handed. This can be also considered as guidance. What kind of joke is this? One's left hand is normally weak. If he were to execute it with his left fist, won't he be screwing up the entire punch routine?" The crowd first stuns, before a commotion breaks out. All of them stares at Zhang Xuan with looks of despise. Everyone knows that the left hand is weaker than the right. Given the shock wave from the fist Liu Yang just executed, he obviously isn't left-handed. Yet now, to ask him to execute it with his left hand. What kind of joke is this? Liu Yang, try using Teacher Zhang's method so that he can give it up. Apparently, Cao Zhang didn't expect Zhang Xuan to say that. He is so excited that he is on the verge of skipping with joy, but he still yells a command to Liu Yang. Even though he just accepted him as a student, he is extremely sure that Liu Yang is more skilled with his right, and that he isn't a left-handed. If he were to really execute it that way, the force behind it probably wouldn't even hit 30 kilograms. For a student to hit 62 kilograms before guidance and before 30 kilograms after guidance, this will definitely cause Zhang Xuan's reputation to fall to the gutters. Let's see whether he can still remain so snug. Yes. Liu Yang snickers coldly and executes the punch routine again. He is very aware of the fact that he isn't left-handed. To get him to execute the blow with his left hand. A load of bullshit. Soaring flower fist is the basic fist he has been practicing since young. Although he isn't very used with the inversion of left and right, he soon got over it. Even though the shock wave from the fists creates a strong yell, regardless of whether it is his strength or proficiency, it seems to be worse than the previous one. Could it be my privilege as a transcender is a sham? Zhang Xuan is very nervous. Other people's privilege when they transcend includes an old grandfather, who could just casually enlighten them. As long as they were to follow his instruction devotedly, there would bound to be no problems. Yet, he just has to get a library with all sorts of messy things written in the book. If what is written in the book is false, he would definitely get expelled from the school. Very quickly, he finishes the routine. Liu Yang walks over to the stone pillar, and raising his left fist, he smashes it in. Wing. A series of digits appear. 1. To think it would be in the tens. When the digit 1 appears on it, Cao Zhang bursts into laughter, as an exhilarated expression appears on his face. However, before he could finish his words, they got stuck in his throat. His eyeballs are about to fall onto the ground. 123? 123 kilograms? The crowd who had intended to mock him are scared foolish and they tremble uncontrollably. Previously, Liu Yang's blow did 62 kilograms, and now that it has risen to 123 kilograms, that is almost a single fold. That is almost a 100% increase. Is that for real? Even the teacher who scored first in the teacher qualification examination throughout the campus, during his first guidance, can't possibly cause his student's result to increase by a single fold. I. Is this from me? Even the person in question, Liu Yang, is stunned. He stares foolishly at the rock pillar in disbelief. He knows that he isn't left-handed. However, never could he imagine that his left strength would hold so much strength. That is a single fold compared to his right. The crowd is astonished. Zhang Xuan almost leaps from all the joy surging through his body. It's true. At this instant, he can finally confirm that the flaws compiled by the library are true. To be able to see through the skills a person is cultivating and his weakness. This privilege of a transcender is really going to bash through the heavens. So, how was it? Your guidance has led to a 20% improvement, while mine has led to a 100% improvement. Teacher Cao, what else do you want to say? Zhang Xuan snickers. Cao Zhang's face turns pale, as he feels a burning sensation on his face. Initially, he proposed this competition to see the other party make a fool out of himself. In the end, the one who was made a fool of is himself. Retrieving a jade token from his embrace, he bites on his finger and a drop of fresh blood falls on it. Liu Yang, I am revoking your status as my student. You can now acknowledge Teacher Zhang as your teacher. After saying that, he glances at Zhang Xuan. You don't have to be too smug about it. This time, you were lucky. The next time we compete, I will make sure that your reputation is ruined. Then, he turns around to leave. This time, not only did his reputation take a blow, he lost a student and even got slapped hard on his face. It is one thing to lose to other teachers. However, the main crux of the problem is that this fellow is the one who scored a 0 in the teacher qualification examination, the worst teacher in the entire academy. Teacher. Watching as Cao Zhang departs, Liu Yang's face darkens. Although he managed to achieve a good result under Zhang Xuan's guidance, he, like Cao Zhang, believes that it was only luck. He doesn't believe that he would have this kind of skills. Alright, you are now my student. Hurry up and take out your identity card. Zhang Xuan doesn't care what he is thinking about. A victory in a bet has given him a new student, so he is still busy celebrating over it. He casually tosses a jade token over. Although Liu Yang isn't really willing to become his student, he knows that he has to give in to the results of the bet. If he doesn't acknowledge this Zhang Xuan as his teacher, the other teachers would definitely reject him. Thus, he could only drip his blood onto this jade token to complete the verification. Tomorrow, meet here for lessons. After finished dealing with Liu Yang, Zhang Xuan doesn't say anything excessive. He looks at Wang Ying, and said those words faintly before walking out of the canteen. Returning back to his lecture hall, Zhang Xuan delves into his mind without second thoughts, to examine the Library of Heaven's path closely. After examining for a while, he finally understands a thing or two about it. As long as the person executes his skill or martial art before him, it would immediately compile into a book of their flaws. I have really struck it rich this time. With this thing in my hand, I would be able to see through any flaws at one go. I don't believe that I will still score a 0 for the next teacher qualification examination. Frenzied joy races through his heart. As a transcender, Zhang Xuan finally feels some enthusiasm for the future. Taiju Chain Kan literally means ancestor long fist.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way.